Hello and welcome to this live demo session on SAP UI5 and Fiori training on SAP Business Application Studio and VS Code. Welcome everyone to this live demo session with me Anubhav. I will be your trainer through this journey of next 40 hours on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. This training is designed for an absolute beginner, a college fresher or an experienced consultant working in industry and willing to learn the latest SAP Fiori development using latest tooling. I have total 18 years of experience working in the world of SAP, and also the last 6 years to 7 years I'm working on SAP Fiori implementation. In this demo session today, we are going to learn about who is this training for, what's our developer persona, what is the overview of this course, followed by we will discuss our use case for the demo and some of the frequently asked questions by the seniors who have already taken this training. That will give you a brief overview of what do you expect in this 40-hour journey. So let's get started. So first, let's understand our developer persona. Who is this training for? Who can join? And you can map your profile as well as your work experience to understand whether this training is going to fit to your needs or not. So if you're working as Danny Joy, who's a UX designer and willing to start developing applications, so she is currently contributing to the company for UX designs. She's designing mockups for the customer based on the functional requirements, but now she wants to venture into developing real applications. This training is going to help her to increase her capability as well as bring in her prototypes into the real apps. If you're working as Vishal Sharma, as a fresher who has no industry experience and aspire to become a full stack developer, this training is also going to help you. Vishal is just out of college looking for opportunities actively and wants to try his career in the field of SAP. This training is also going to help Vishal. If you are a technical advocate like Shania, who is working already in industry in one of the UI technology and want to become a UI developer with SAP technology, SAP UI5 specifically, then this training is also going to help Shania. Or finally, you are an application developer like Suhas Rane, who is working as an ABAP consultant, willing to build applications going forward using SAP Fiori on ECC and S4HANA. You are seeing a shift in the industry that your dialog programs are becoming obsolete. Every single customer is asking you to learn Fiori and build Fiori apps or contribute to build UI5 applications which can run on mobile phones and add mobility to your application, including the maintenance of existing UI projects, which are developed by your seniors in your company. This training is certainly going to help you. Why I say specifically ABAP consultants? Because maybe as a ABAPer, you would not have worked earlier with web technologies. In this training, I'm also going to teach basics of web technologies to you. Having said that, let's understand the overview of this training. Of course, the detailed course content you can check on anubhavtrainings.com, but this is a brief overview of what can you expect in next 40 hours. So in the phase one, we will learn about the core concepts of web development, which includes HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery, including setting up our development tools from scratch. So that is what we will be doing. We will develop our development tools from scratch, and we will see how can you start with SAP UI5 development. In the phase two, we are going to start UI5 development. We will learn about SAP UI5 framework with the model view controller architecture and learn about software development kit provided by SAP to build Fiori applications. We will understand the complete architecture and behind the scene what is going on when you develop and build and test your applications. In the phase three, we will learn and focus on Fiori development with Fiori templates and Fiori libraries. We will see how can you make an application run on devices by making them responsive and including latest concepts like Component.js, router, root match handler, manifest JSON, end-to-end development of application without any copy paste of code. In the last phase, you will learn how to expose your real ERP data out to the Fiori application, be it an S4HANA system or ECC system. You'll be able to consume your real data. You will be able to learn design, development, testing, packaging, deployment, and transporting your application to production system. This is an end-to-end course, which is going to help you doing that. So this 40-hour training is designed specifically for beginners, absolute beginners who have zero knowledge, zero experience, zero background of Fiori, including ABAP consultants who have never worked on UI5 and aspire to transform their existing dialog programs and WebDynPro programs to Fiori user experience app. So that's a motivation for us to begin this demo. Having said that, let's understand what do we expect today. I'm going to start our development tool, create our first UI5 project using MVC architecture, and then test our application in the local computer using browser. So that is what we expect in the demo today. So let me switch over to our slides and talk about a brief on what is SAP UI5 and how can we use UI5 to create our first application. So let's talk about what is SAP UI5. So as you might have already heard about SAP's new UI technology, and that's a motivation for you to be here in the demo. Let's give the official definition. So SAP UI5 is a framework to develop responsive web applications. What is a framework? A framework is nothing but it's a collection of libraries. What is a library? Library is nothing but it's a collection of classes. What is a class? Class is nothing but it's a collection of attributes, functions, events, and aggregations. So all in all, in a nutshell, it's a large collection of classes. We are living in 21st century. The development is no more like what you started in 1990s, where every part of the application and project we need to configure manually. Today, we have frameworks and tools to speed up our development, to bring efficiency in the overall development process and bring speed to build applications faster and also in a more standardized way. In this journey, that's why there are frameworks. Many frameworks you might have heard about: Android, Angular, React. Similarly, SAP UI5 is also a framework to develop web applications which are responsive. So now you know what is a framework. What is responsive? Responsive means an application which you code only once and run on multiple platforms, multiple browsers, and multiple devices, including anytime, anywhere. Yes. So this is what a responsive app. You don't have to write code for multiple devices and browsers again and again. The same application code works for different devices, and that's a key USP of UI5 as compared to WebDynPro or GUI-based applications in the past. So in order to develop your application, the step number one would be you need to download this framework in your computer or point to your application to this framework. So let me write down the steps which we will be following today to develop our app. So first step, we will be creating a project. A project is nothing but a folder in my computer. Then I will create a launcher file. Launcher file is nothing but like in C program in childhood days, you used to create a main.c, which is the starting file of your C program. You will create that. So that will be here. It's a web application. So it will be a HTML file. Then once it is created in C program, you used to put studio.h, conio.h. You used to start with very basic initialization. So we are similarly going to initialize our project file, our starting file with something called Bootstrap. Bootstrap is nothing but a piece of code which downloads the SAP UI5 framework. Yes. So SAP UI5 framework will be then downloaded when you start the application so that you can leverage that. And as I mentioned, during this initialization, you will specify where is the UI5 framework, what are all the libraries you need, and what is the namespace of my project, what's a unique name of my project which I'm developing, so that UI5 can find all the files related to your project in that namespace. Including, you will also specify the theme. Theme is nothing but the experience you want to start with. Yes, so that is the step number 3. So let's go ahead and do these 3 steps. I've got already this development tool on my computer. I will show you in the next episode how I set up this development tool in my system. As I told you, it's an absolute beginner course, and we are going to touch upon every part of it. It's a demo today, so I've already set up the project, set up the development tool. But in coming episode, in the next class, I will show you how do you set up, you get access to this free development tool. So let's create a project, and I can say Anubhav demo. And now you can see a project will be created in my computer, Anubhav demo. We will just add a file, index.html, as a starting file for this project. And this is basically an HTML file with a header and a body. Yes, that is what we will add. In the header, which is nothing but the brain of the HTML, we are going to bootstrap. So we're going to put a script tag with source, and we specify where I'm going to download the SAP UI5 framework from. So I say ui5.sap.com slash resources slash SAP UI core.js. How did I got this URL from? This is something I'll explain in unit number 11 when we talk about SDK in detail. But for time being, you can go and cross check that it is giving some piece of code, some framework, which is going to download in my computer. In addition to that, I will specify data SAP UI libs, which libraries I'm planning to use to develop my application. So I'm going to use SAP mobile library. As I told you, it's a framework consisting libraries. So we use mobile library. In addition, we'll specify data SAP UI theme, and I will be using the latest theme called SAP Horizon for the experience. And finally, we specify data SAP UI resource roots, which specifies nothing but my components. It will tell the system what is my root folder of the project. So we will just give a name. So let me give a name Anubhav as a root folder name of my project. So my project will be named as Anubhav. So that's the name of my project. That's called also namespace. We're going to discuss about this line in detail in unit 12 for just 1 hour. This line I'm going to spend 1 hour to make you clear. But for time being, just understand this is nothing but our root folder. So this is giving a pet name to our application folder, which is Anubhav demo. Yeah. So that is what we will refer now with this name. Cool. So in addition, we will also specify classification property for loading and experience. Yes. And now we are ready with the first piece of code to test it. So we can say, hello, welcome to UI5, like a hello world. And now to test this application, we just run a command UI5 serve. But the moment I run this command to start my UI5 app, it's going to give me an error. Yeah. So to solve this error, we go to command prompt because I do not have permission with the PowerShell to run in my computer. So I will now again do this. And you see, it's giving me another error that it is unable to detect a file called package.json. What is this file? So typically when you run a project, your project depends on some dependencies. And this is the reason why we actually need something like this, a package.json file. This package.json file will actually help us to define the required dependencies to run our project. So that is why we need this file. So to create this file, we run a command called npm init, initialize command. and I just enter details. And now you see this file got created with the package JSON. So this should be inside our project directory Anubhav demo. So I need to be inside my Anubhav demo project directory and then create it. In addition, we should also follow a standard structure. Basically, our project should be inside the web app folder. So let me also do that. I create a web app folder and move our index file, the launcher file, inside the index HTML. Yeah. So now once again, we will try to run our project. So we say UI5 serve, please start my UI5 project. And now again, another issue comes which says I cannot find this UI5 YAML file. Okay, no problem. So we can say UI5 init command to initialize our project with a YAML file. So this is nothing but it is telling the type of the application is a app. So you can develop plugin, library, component, and you can develop application. So there are different variety. We will discuss them later. But right now I just initialize my project. So is this a project, an Android project? Is this a Java project? No, it's a UI5 project. It's not a ABAP project. It's a UI5 project. To do that marking, we need this file. So I'm using certain commands. How did I got these commands in my computer? What did I do? All this I'm going to discuss in unit number 13, 14, 15 in detail. So you will be an expert on all these tooling. These are called UI5 tooling. We're going to learn that also in our training. Now, let me again try to run UI5 serve. Please start my project. And this time another issue comes saying that I don't know the manifest file. So we need to create another file to get started with our project called manifest.json. And this file is just about telling the application ID. So I'm going to say SAP UI5, SAP UI section, and I'm going to say what's the name of my project. So we're going to just add here the ID of our project, and we're going to specify the type of our project. So type is an application and name is Anubhav. So basically the same detail which we gave earlier, like the name of our project, we are once again specifying this detail over here. That would basically create our basic skeleton of the project. I'm going to save this. We are ready. And now we're going to do a UI5 serve to start my project. So voila, you can see my project is now running. It is started. I can just go back and test this project in my computer. And I can start. And you can see we got welcome to UI5. Congratulations, guys. Our first project is like a Hello World program with UI5 is running on our computer now. But we are here to not create a Hello World program. We are here to create something more meaningful. Yes. So what do? We are now going to develop a simple view using UI5. So what is a view? So when you are developing project, you're not developing a college project. You're developing a real productive application. So you should follow certain architecture. So the industry's best practice is that the architecture to develop application is called MVC architecture. MVC stands for Model View Controller. So it tells that your application is typically composed of three important parts. One is called model. Model is nothing but our data for the application. Then comes is view. View is nothing but the user interface for input output. And then comes is the controller. Controller is nothing but our processing. So that's where we process all the application logic, and all three of them work in orchestration to make our application run. So this way your application is future ready, and it is safe, it is extensible, and it is also maintainable, and it is more modular. So now I will develop a view which will contain the UI elements. And to develop a view, we will actually use SAP UI5 libraries. So let me go and create a view, new file. I call it as main view. The extension of the view will be .view.xml. And let me define a view class. So as I told you that UI5 is a collection of library, and library have classes. So we have a library called MVC library. And in this we have a view class. So I'm defining view class, and I specify that my MVC library points to SAP UI core MVC. So this is my library name I will be using. And in addition, we will specify that I'm going to use SAP mobile library also to develop my view. And now in this, we will add just a button with a text and say click here. And whenever the button is pressed, I'm going to say a event will be called on click. So I will have a now button in this which says click here. And whenever somebody click, this button will trigger an event called press event, and that will trigger my logic called on click. So this is a very basic skeleton of a view, but now we need to create this view object and load this view on the UI. So we will come back and bye-bye to hello, and I will just create a element called ID. This is basically a container which will contain our view. Let's call it as content. And let's create our view object here. So I'm just going to go to script tag, create another piece of code to create a view object. So I create a new view object with a class provided by SAP called SAP UI view. And I will specify the name of my view name. Yes. And I will specify the type of the view. So type of the view is an XML view which we created, and the path of the view is my Anubhav folder, which is web app dot mean. Yeah, that's my path of the view. So please create a view object for me, and once this is created, please put this view in the body so user can only see what is kept in the body. So we will call this function called placeAt to place my view inside the body of the view. So that's a very simple piece of code where we are creating a view object and we are placing the view object in the body of our page. So now we go ahead and test our application. So let's go back to the browser, refresh, and start our page. And there you go. You can see we've got a button. Beautiful. So we've added our first user interface with just a empty button. And of course, we can now go ahead and add the logic for this button. So as you all know that we've added here the on-click action, which I can go ahead and call. But as you know that I explained that we need to have all the logic inside the controller. So we will create a controller. So we will specify who's the controller of this view. So it's in Anubhav folder, and I can say the controller name is also my controller. Yeah. So let me create a my controller now. So this file must be my controller.controller.js. And now I can write all the logic, SAP UI define, and this is the skeleton of a class or a controller. This class will inherit from a SAP standard dependency, which is called SAP UI core MVC controller class. Yes. Now, one very important point to note, guys, this line of code which you are seeing here, you might not understand this today in the demo because I need to prepare you for understanding JavaScript basics, modules, module definition, and it's going to take almost 3 to 4 hours of lecture to make you understand this line. So this is extremely important. So let me right now just make you understand that this is a module. This is a class which we are creating. So now we will just add our logic in this class by specifying the name of the controller, my controller, and we will put our functions where we write our logic. So on click of the button, we want to do something. What is that something I want to do? I want to just give a message to the user, say, hello, SAP UI5 Yes. That's the message I want to give. So right now, maybe you not understand the skeleton of the controller because we're going to spend enough time on understanding this line and this line, but just understand that this is the function which I have added in my controller, my business logic, which will trigger whenever somebody click our button. Yeah. So where did I get these properties from? Where did I got this event name from? All these things I'm going to explain in unit number 14, 15, 16. And this one I'm going to explain in unit 17 and 18 in detail so that you can understand each and every bit of code. As you know that this is a course designed for absolute fresher. So that is how we will take it forward. Now I'm just going to run this. So we switch over back and refresh. And this time when I click, wow, I get my message, hello SAP UI5 ENs. So that is how exactly we can create a very simple user interface using SAP UI5 technology. So let me move on to some of the frequently asked questions by many of you in the past. What will be the duration of this training and what's the prerequisite? So guys, the duration of this training is 40 hours and there is no prerequisite of this course. Yes, you just need to have basic programming skills and that is more than enough to learn this training. What is the timing? What if the timing doesn't suit me? What can I go with this training in video mode, or maybe I would like to do learning on a fast track basis? Yes. So you can opt in for video mode training where you can go through all the training videos with the most recently recorded batch, and you can ask your questions over the email. You can email us and we can help you with your questions. So that is option number 2. Someone who would like to fast track their learning, they don't want to wait for everyday classes. They have a burning requirement in the project to deliver. In that case, they can go with video mode training. What tools do we need to learn? Where can I get those tools? So we will be using the tools like Business Application Studio in VS Code. And in the next class, I will teach you how to set up these tools. And VS Code tool is absolutely free for developers. So we will also be spending a lot of time in VS Code to develop our UI5 app. What about this server access for OData? So as you know that we will expose our real OData, real data from SAP, and that's where we use OData. And for that, we need a server in only last 10 session. And in session number 29 is where I will guide you about the server access, which you guys can opt for in this system. So that's something Anubhav will guide you in the next class and in coming classes. So don't worry, this is a end-to-end real-time training. So you will get complete hands-on experience throughout the journey. Will you cover real-time scenarios? Yes, we will be developing an application real-time, a Fiori app, including all the real-time scenarios where we will learn about consuming SAP data, designing, delivering, deploying our application to production system. So that's something which we will cover end-to-end as part of this course. You will become a expert on SAP UI5. I'm new to UI5. Can I learn? Yes, you can. Certainly, any fresher can also learn UI5 because this training is designed even for fresher who is absolute beginner. We will cover all the basics of web development, which includes HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery as part of this course. What if I miss a class? So every class like this one, we are recording and you will get the video recording of the class. And you can watch the video recording at later point of time on your convenience in case you miss a class. Finally, most importantly, what's the process to enroll? The process is very simple. You can just send us an email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com to join this course. And that's all. We will guide you through the process for enrolling for this training. Everybody should learn to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. That's a thought of the day. With that, thank you so much for joining this demo session with me, Anubhav. I hope to see you in my next episode live in action, and our next topic will be how to set up our development tool for starting SAP UI5. Once again, thank you so much for attending this demo today. I hope to see you in my next class tomorrow, same time. Have a nice day and goodbye.